back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Sohail, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today, we're focused on Star Trek Prodigy, Season 2, Episode 4, Temporal Mechanics 101.
There it is. Temporal Mechanics 101. The time has come.
The time has come. Good morning. What a fun thing to be streaming so early on a Saturday morning. Like
Thank
when
you
we were
all for
kids.
joining us.
It's like when you're kids, you're watching like your favorite, like for me, it wasn't this, but I just imagine like little Toddy watching Reboot on like, right? Were you watching Reboot? Is that one of the shows you remember Reboot? I feel Reboot started this whole, Reboot is the source of shows like Prodigy,
1994,
Clone Wars. Oh no, you were too young.
No,
I
I
was
wasn't
too
watching
young.
that.
But it has that. It was the first computer animated like show for a younger audience, targeted towards a younger audience. I was a little older, but I was so fascinated by it because I love animation, and I was like, wow, this is like the first animated kind of long form, like long format or whatever. It was just the first. It felt like a first to me. I don't know if it was really the first animated computer animated TV show, but
well, I mean, it was surely one of the first by the looks of it.
Yeah, if not the first. But anyways, what I was getting at is I rewatched this episode this morning when I woke up fairly early, and it gave me that like deep happiness of being a kid and watching Saturday morning cartoons. So I highly recommend that every adult who wants to, like, maybe if you're stressed out in your day a little bit or in your life right now, like just wake up early on a Saturday morning. I'd say like around 7:00. Start watching Star Trek Prodigy. You'll feel so good. Like it's a real pick me up.
I think that's how the original like animated series Star Trek aired, right? It aired on Saturday morning cartoons, was it?
I feel like that's correct, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Oh, cool. We have Joanne Robertson in the audience. Joanne, you're up so early after last night's shenanigans. It's so nice to see.
So are you.
I know. We ended early just so that we could do this because I was like, sometimes After Dark can go on for like hours and hours, and I was just like, oh guys, no, I gotta stream tomorrow. I've got to be in a good place. So yeah. I can't be Hangover the Next Generation when we're talking about Prodigy.
No.
Do you remember those days we'd talk about Next Generation the day after the After Dark, and then it was like, sometimes I was like, not.
I remember because we didn't do them live. We used to just record them.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did used to do that. That was fun.
Things weren't
live. So Toddy, Temporal Mechanics 101. So they've managed to save. Well, they've managed to kind of bungle up saving Chakotay, but Chakotay and Adrik managed to get off the planet.
Yes.
And the protostars lost to time somewhere. We don't know where it's gone because before it was on autopilot and it ended up at Tars Lamora, so they could have banked on that or counted on that.
Now it's on Chakotay pilot.
It's on Chakotay.
So we don't know exactly how Chakotay pilots his ship or where he takes it to.
Chakotay pilot. So they're off, but now we have a dilemma because Gwen's in trouble. They have to get back to Gwen urgently because a mysterious prompt appears after they talk to Janeway and the crew. A mysterious prompt appears on the panel that says "Save Gwen," and then Dal asks, "Is this from Voyager?" And the response is no. Which reminded me of Star Trek Picard. Remember how Raffi was like talking to her handler in Picard season 3, Worf, but it was all through text. That's kind of like what it reminded me of.
It's
like
very enigmatic because like clearly the question was, is this Voyager? But it's implying who is this, right? But the person is like, no. That's it. You got to go off that.
They're still going to do it because it's obviously they have to save Gwen.
I mean,
right?
To be fair, it is a pretty logical mission statement to go and save your friend, right? Like in that situation, what else were they going to do? Just like chill on the planet? No,
right?
Because
right,
Gwen,
exactly.
but Gwen be phasing, basically.
Gwen be phasing right now. She's going
in and
back
out
and forth through reality and time. It seems like.
but it's mainly because she's phasing in and out of existence because the actual future from which she came, which is now the past of the present, don't exist no more.
Basically. Right. Something completely different happened because something completely different happened. They still send out the 100 ships, I guess, but they never find.
Well, we don't know. Like, even if it's minor, I don't know if it's minor or major, the changes that occur at this point in my viewing. But for sure, it's not they're not on the same timeline anymore, right?
So, and Janeway speculates that the reason why things are in flux and haven't changed, is because the Infinity's temporal shielding may have a residual effect, which could be holding things together for the time being. So that's interesting as well. But anyways, so the kids decide to do this, and while they're retrofitting the Infinity with temporal technology, which it's kind of cool that, you know, they're able to do that with such limited resources, but, you know, whatever. It's like, maybe there's unlimited.
Jankum pulls off some of, like, the best engineering in Star Trek. Like,
insane.
This episode, he just does it. And he does it off camera too. It's kind of like, you don't watch like gaming YouTubers, but sometimes gaming YouTubers will be like, I'll just do a bit of this off camera, and they do the most insane thing off camera. That's kind of what Jankum was like. Yeah, I'm just gonna mine for some diamond off screen, and then he comes back and he's got like an inventory full of diamonds. So,
however, I do think the retrofits make the Infinity look peak. Like, it looks so beautiful with those with those like things jetting out of it. Like, really, I think that was definitely missing from the design.
So he makes the Infinity basically a time capsule. Because it doesn't fly anymore. It's no longer a ship. You know what I mean? He gets all mad because we told him we don't need to fly. They drain energy from the spatial anomaly, the wormhole.
Right.
To make it work.
Right. They drain the energy. Right. And so then they go back in time. Meanwhile, Gwen's being consoled by the diviner. I had to use percussive maintenance on a wet dry vacuum yesterday and it worked. Yes, that is funny. Hey Ellie, oh my gosh. Guys, Ellie Littlechild is in our audience. It's so cool. Welcome. And I will be streaming with Ellie very shortly at 11:30 a.m. on Sci-Fanatics. Yes. So I'm so excited. Thanks for coming in our stream, and see you later. I'm so excited. I've never met you, so this is very cool. I'm sorry, I just had to fanboy out there a little bit. Which, by the way, it's like having Janeway in our chat. It's very cool. Very young Janeway. Anyways, now what were we talking about, Toddy?
Jankum's engineering.
Oh, Jankum's engineering. No, we were talking about Gwen's father. So,
that's right.
Know, he's there to console her, and he's quite different. I love those scenes. We'll talk more about it in the kind of in-depth part of it. But just to say in the summary, like, he consoles her, and he's kind of like the father she always needed. She's even like, poor thing, she's even like, you know, I failed, you are diviner, and stuff like that. And but then the friends appear. The diviner sees all this and is, you know, probably like really moves him and changes him a little bit, like to see, you know, oh well, it does. Like, he's like astonished. He's like, people from another place, and he's like, I always wanted to go to another star, but you brought that to me. I thought that was like a really sweet thing. Anyways, they hop in, and well, Tal's like, all right, let's go. We got to fly now. And Jankum's like, you told me to make it time travelable, but not fly. There's no way this ship's going to fly, but it starts floating by itself, and it seems to be operational because thanks to our mystery benefactor or mystery handler or whatever is going on. By the way, for those of you in the audience, Toddy has not seen past this episode, so if I'm being like, you know, cagey about talking about stuff that comes later, we will be talking about all that stuff on Sci-Fanatics. We're going to talk about episodes 1 through 10, so in a little bit
so unless this is,
we're sticking to 4.
We'll talk about it later. Finish it.
So the kids get back to the ship, and the doctor comes up with a clever solution to stabilize Gwen using a phase discriminator, very similar to the technology that keeps him from being in a holodeck, and voila, Gwen's back, and we have to figure out who's the mysterious handler and all that stuff. What'd you think of this episode, Toddy?
I liked it. I did. I said in my little Twitter recap that it's not my favorite of the season. But that in no means, like, it doesn't mean that I hated the episode at all. I loved it. I think it was great. It felt a little more, I guess, self-contained, like it had its own little story, and I think that's because we were following mainly just like the one group. We weren't following too much of what was going on with Voyager or Chakotay. And then we weren't following too much of what was going on with like all of the Valnakat there. It was just really Gwyn and her father.
Yeah, totally. I like this episode too. I think it's an important episode, I'll say, because if you're watching and you're like kind of confused by the time travel, which I often do, as you know, I struggle. No, I like time travel, but I struggle with the kind of ins and outs of what's happening.
Visualizing the concept.
Visualizing the concept, but that's understandable because time travel is a multi-dimensional event folded into a matrix. So, human minds are not meant to kind of understand that exactly.
We're not meant to do it either, I don't think.
We are. I think we can. I would tell. Where would you? You wouldn't time travel? Someone comes up to you with like a time travel device that says, "Toddy, let's go to the future and see what happens to humanity."
Yes.
You would want to.
You kidding me?
But you wouldn't. So, anyways, we learn through the Temporal Mechanics 101 video, I think, all the things that we're going to need to know about time travel for this specific show, which I love. Okay. So they gave us early on, like, I like that by episode 4, this made it easier to, after watching this episode, I feel like later on stuff that may or may not happen, I'm not going to, spoil it for you, but it made
you have the tools now.
You have the tools now, yeah.
Yes,
so
okay. To interpret the show in the way that it wants to be interpreted. Okay.
Yeah.
So 100%. You're talking about mainly, I think, the domino effect they refer to in this, where like if you remove a domino, which is an important event, things need to be kind of moved or kickstarted themselves.
Right. They're
a bit of a nudge.
Dr. Aaron's basically saying you need to kind of just make sure that the major events happen and everything little will kind of fall into place, more or less how it happens. So for example, like let's say you and I time travel to the 1980s, right? And we meet Steve Jobs, right? We can't be all like, Steve, don't do this, don't do that. Like it's like, but if we are and we mess something up and Steve Jobs decides to become like a vacuum manufacturer instead of a phone manufacturer, right? And then, or like a computer manufacturer, then we have to figure out a way just to make him go back to being a computer manufacturer. Yeah. That would be the mission, basically, to restore it. He would still have gone on that weird tangent.
Yeah.
But if we get him back to where he needs to be, more or less the future will roll out.
And thus we would have created an incursion.
An incursion, correct. Yes.
I know my Temporal Mechanics 101, sir.
I feel like you do, but I also sometimes don't trust you.
No, but it's
I
funny. I
feel like you know more than me, though.
No, it's funny because there are other topics where we kind of don't need to go over it again. Like it's like everyone's understood it; it's very clear. But sometimes there are topics like, and I feel like temporal mechanics or time travel specifically is something that it doesn't matter how many times you go over it, even if you understand it. It's like, let's just lay it down in front of us.
Right. There's also a lot of nuances, I think. Sometimes we're looking at things and we see the butterfly effect, right? So you go back in time, you change the past, you go back to the future, it's a totally different future. Then sometimes you go back in time, fix the past, and then go back to the future, and it's back to the way it was. But what's going on mechanically in the background is that it's a whole new timeline, that the timeline that was there before is gone. But this new timeline is so similar to how things are supposed to be from your perspective, because you came from that timeline, that it's okay. Just move on. Don't worry about you're missing that little thing that was, kind of sort of a part of this timeline. Don't worry about it. which to me, I feel like someone who's time sensitive like Guinan, it must be like really maddening for her sometimes when these big temporal changes occur. And
Can you
until
imagine
someone
being on like Janeway's ship or something?
like,
It's like every 3 weeks, it's like she did it again. I'm just gonna make
does
this
Janeway do
cocktail.
it? There,
I'm
I
not
feel
gonna
like
think about
it. But anyways, yeah. So it could give you a headache if you talk about it. But I love that they did that in this episode. By the way, I forgot to mention that this episode was written by Keith Sweet. What a cool, sweet name that is. The second, and directed by Benny Bond himself. So that was pretty cool to see. I would love to direct an animated program someday. I think that might be a fun thing to do at some point in my life. I still have, like about 50 something. If I live to 100, I have like 50 years to do it. So we'll see.
It gives you time.
It does give you time. So, Toddy, who sent the message? What's going on? Any ideas?
So I'm going to assume it's someone that we already know. Like I'm going to assume it's not a completely new character that we've never heard of. That's my assumption. I feel like
you think it's gonna be like a big cameo of some kind.
Yes,
like
my theory, Craft, is
it's
someone that is returning from another show. That makes the most sense to me, based on like I guess the recent history of Star Trek, of like what we've seen in stuff like Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks in particular, and Prodigy itself. With like, so I think, so of course I think the red herring here, the big kind of like bait and switch, I guess, is that it's, as Joel is saying, future guy from Enterprise. But I think it was a visual. I think it was a visual kind of like homage to future guy from Enterprise. Though I don't know if it is future guy. It'd be very interesting if it was future guy though. And they revealed the identity of future guy from Enterprise. But like future guy from Enterprise was supposed to be Archer behind the scenes, although that's technically not canon as it stands.
Would you flip out if it's Captain Archer, who's the mysterious figure?
That would be insane to me. You couldn't understand how like nuts that would be, like having like Cisco be doing all this. I'd be like, what? How did they do this? That would be completely wild. Joel is saying Trip is back. What?
Oh my god,
no.
That would be a dream come true for
that. See, I don't believe that.
For Starfleet Sohail.
No, but when I run down like the people I know that are capable of doing like a Q, but a Q is they're not helpful. You know what I mean? There's Guinan, I guess, or people from what is she?
She's an Elorian.
Elorians, yeah. I don't know. When I go down the list of people that know how to do this kind of shit, there's not a lot. I mean, there's two of them. There's two of them in Picard, right? Technically, because there's fucking Will Wheaton. What's his name?
Wesley,
and also I think
Soji.
Data's Soji. She's like her apprentice or some shit. His apprentice.
They're both travelers. So we have people capable of doing this. We have the travelers.
Yes, but
okay.
I don't know. He looks funky. We wouldn't bring him back.
He looks funky. We wouldn't bring him back. Oh my goodness, whatever. That's so weird.
It doesn't make sense to me. But we already have people that are like bluish in tone and like it doesn't. No, we don't want the gray guy back.
Cake is. Oh, you're talking about the traveler himself. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Wesley. I was like, what?
No,
Wesley looks fine. No. You're talking about the traveler.
The actual traveler. Like
you're talking about this guy who's got permanent. He's got permanent like LLAP hands.
Him.
Right?
I wouldn't bring. Well, actually, it's interesting because I used to believe that he was like a species of traveler, but now I'm inclined to believe that he just happens to be of that species and he happens to be a traveler. That makes more sense to me now.
Interesting.
My understanding of the canon is changing.
Well, that's one group that could do it.
No,
we have we have Future Guy and whoever his cohorts are. I can't remember how he was related to Daniels in Enterprise. Like was Future Guy like someone that Daniels was like? Were they like? I forget if they were like working
Future Guy,
against Future Guy or if they were
Future
working with
Guy
Future Guy.
Future Guy and Daniels never interacted on screen, and Future Guy was kind of working with the bad guys. Future Guy was talking to the Sullivan, to like enemies of the Enterprise, and there's one moment where I think Future Guy and Archer speak, and this is all like temporal Cold War stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was definitely visually striking as like Future Guy from Enterprise. That's what the episode was doing visually, I'll tell you that. But like on one hand, one part of my mind is like they want to do that character, that's what they're doing, and on another hand I'm like, no, Prodigy is smarter than that, and what Prodigy is doing is they're just establishing like kind of like visual continuity into how people communicate from the future. Does that make sense? That makes more sense. Because
I see what you're saying.
We know what a warp drive looks like. They all have like a little different hum, a little different hue, but globally, it's like I mean, technically, they're pretty much the same thing. And I thought like the representation of someone talking from the future, that's kind of what it resembles. So that's what they're trying to do.
Interesting. So then
there's a couple of people that ascended too, but I don't think would bring them back.
No. But okay, so then there's also, you were thinking like, the Cisco, of course. But then there's also the Q that they're capable, and we do have a relationship with Janeway and the Q, don't we? Like, isn't like she the auntie to Q's son or something like that?
Yeah.
Auntie Kate.
Well, yeah, it could be a Q. It could be a Q that isn't.
Could it be
the Q?
Could it be Q's son though? Like, could that be would you like to see that? That would be a big comeback, right? Like to see Q's son. Like, and I actually think that would be fun because I think the actor's now much older. I'm not sure, but wasn't that John Delancey's actual son that played the part in Voyager? Am I remembering that incorrectly?
If that is true, I've never known that.
I could have sworn I read that somewhere. Ellie, Auntie Kathy, that's right. But I couldn't remember if that's the case. Audience, let us know if you remember.
So the thing is, it's not
Q Junior was.
It's not just someone that can time travel, so to speak, or someone from the future or whatever. Like, because I'm assuming they are from the future. So it's more someone that is like godlike. You know what I mean? It's someone that's capable of just fixing a ship, sending messages to whatever timeline and whatever like time. It's really someone that's kind of like living outside of the confines of what we are.
It could be Section 31. Could it be Giorgio or someone like from Section 31? They could kind of do that, I think.
Oh, that's interesting. Didn't think of that. Oh my god, it's bloody Kovich. No.
By the way, audience, Toddy has also not seen Discovery Season 5, so let's not spoil. You're so behind on Star Trek, but it's kind of fun. I have to admit, it's fun to hear you theorize. Like, that's the best part of you not being caught up.
I would have to really look into who has like the powers, like who has the powers list, basically.
It's
it
true.
would be fun to have Wesley back, but actually show him as like an interdimensional being, like he was supposed to be, not just like some dude in a white suit at a wedding. You know what I mean?
But he can re-manifest, I would imagine, or something like that. We don't know what the Travelers actually do.
I don't know what they can do.
Like yet.
We haven't had an episode about them.
By the way, Ellie in the audience confirmed that the actor who played Q Jr. is in fact John Delancey's son. So that's pretty cool.
That's fun. That's cool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So that would be really cool having him back too, actually. That would be fun.
What did you think of
back to Star Trek?
That would be really fun. What did you think of like what did you think of the diviner in that little glimpse we got of him in the future where he's trying to find, the kids and all that, like all the kind of like, scenes that we got of him looking for them and stuff?
No, I liked it.
Yeah.
It gave me kind of like PTSD to season 1 and how terrible it was. But no, it's nice because it
and it
contrasts
reminded us
of
within
like,
the within the episode. It reminded us how he potentially is going to be and how he was, which is kind of cool.
yes. Well, it's now uncertain. You know what I mean? We don't know if he's going to be like that. He might not become who he was in the future.
Toddy
But
has
yeah,
so much to catch up on, but he's like a dad. He has a job. Like he works. It's like I can't even get him started
everyone
on.
else has a life. They're all caught up. Come on.
No, I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't have a life that I'm watching so much TV. That could be that could be the case. Who knows?
I will say though, um, I know this might be counterintuitive, but the fact that we're doing these conversations once a week has almost kind of slowed me down in my Prodigy Prodigy viewing. Like I want to kind of watch, but I find it more interesting to come in to these conversations having only seen like the most recent episode, from the conversation. So
Your discipline's amazing. I couldn't do it. I would lie to you and be like, "Oh yeah, I haven't seen anything further." Like totally just like
you have no honor, sir.
By the way, is mom on the tube still watching with you?
No.
Oh no, you got to get her back in the fold because it's gonna get really good. That's
No.
all the spoilers. I'll tell you this: she's gonna regret not. She's gonna
She
regret it.
she had like a move away suddenly when she saw Chakotay. She's like, no. It's like, that's not Chakotay. Like, but it is. It's even like he came back to do the voice. She's like, no. So
Was she a fan of Chakotay on the original run?
Not really, to be fair. She wasn't
I've
really
noticed,
a fan of Chakotay.
Look, I'll tell you this. I'm going to spoil a little bit of a spoiler. The general consensus online is that folks who did not really care for Chakotay or didn't weren't really into like the character are finding that the character is much better in
Okay.
this series. That's all. That's the only spoiler.
So I'll say something about
So
Chakotay.
tell mom on the tube that your friend is encouraging, like saying, just give it a chance, get back in, back in.
I'll say something about Chakotay and Voyager. I enjoy the character. I enjoy what they did. I understand like some of the difficulties, but even but putting that aside, just story wise and character development, I do understand why people wouldn't so much enjoy him, because it is kind of flatline, you know what I mean, for most of the show. And I do this for a lot of things, not just Star Trek. Sometimes I like to think of kind of like the possibilities, or like, I don't know, think of the possibilities that they could have done with the character, and that it gives them more depth. Like if you were to take some of the stories and just like kind of amp them up, that kind of stuff, it makes them more interesting, I find. That's what I do with Pirates of the Caribbean. I think Pirates of the Caribbean is absolutely great, and sometimes I'm like, I wish they just did this a little bit better, and it would be the best thing. But I enjoy the world so much more. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. So the other thing I wanted to ask you about, so my notes are more like, what do I ask Toddy about? Because like I said, it's kind of fun to hear you speculate, but also personally, I was really moved by the kind of the ending where Janeway, Dal's like super kind of, he's very sorry that, they couldn't do the mission correctly the way that it was planned and save Chakotay. And I like Janeway, I felt that the character was really disappointed inside because like she's been like working so hard to get everything right so that she could save her former first
She can just
officer.
go get a Klingon time crystal and try and do it again, but okay.
That's right. She could. No, but it gets more complicated the more temporal incursions.
Yeah, fair enough.
In
Then you have to
the same
dodge yourself because you see yourself coming and
self and dodge make sure the kids do it wrong and like all the things. There's like a lot going on.
It's a hassle. Then you're like a Worf situation that they talked about. Yeah, where like there's all of these different voyages everywhere.
Right, or parallels or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So and that was cool, by the way. Nice reference to that episode. But anyways, so I do appreciate that. I love kind of I love Admiral Janeway, and like the character, like re-meeting this character, like, you know, has really definitely piqued my interest to go back and watch Voyager, you know, in a more like kind of concentrated way, and not just when I'm falling asleep at night or whatever, because I feel like, oh yeah, there's probably a lot I'm missing out on. But I loved how her handling of it, where she's like, right now the most important thing is Gwen, like, you know, just like kind of relieving Dal of his guilt, you know, and just saying, don't worry about it, let's focus on the present, which is a great kind of thing to do when you're in these situations.
It makes the most sense too, I think, because like I'm not gonna say Chakotay is lost, but to a certain degree, like Chakotay was already gone in the future. You know what I mean? He was already gone technically. He was lost to time, and then when he came back through the anomaly, now he's lost to I don't know, like he's lost to dimensions at this point. You know what I mean? Whereas Gwen is technically someone that like you have in your timeline. You know what I mean? She's here. You can actually save her. Yes, she's going through like some transdimensional flux or whatever the hell you want to call it, but she's here. You know what I mean? So it makes sense that that's the focus and that's the mission.
Absolutely. Let's
She's
see
so
who
motherly
she
too.
is. So
Like
I
Janeway.
know it's a shame she didn't. You know, the only captain I think that we've seen having kids are, well, now they all have kids. Actually, I take that back. So before it was Kirk, and then that was it, right? Kirk was the only one who had a kid, and the kid died. Like, so that was like super tragic. But now we have Kirk, and Cisco definitely is a father. Janeway was never has a child. Does she ever have a child in any of those alternate timeline
Well, she
shenanigans?
does. She has she has like the lizard babies there.
The salamanders. I forgot about the
Yeah, with Tom
salamanders.
Paris. So yeah, she
Don't
got
they
kids.
abandon the? She abandons those.
Maybe it's them. Maybe they're the ones
That would be
out here.
amazing if the salamander kids like grew up and just like were looking for her. Like, the audience is like, shh, Toddy will figure out that future guy's a salamander baby.
I wouldn't know how to feel about that. Like I'd be like amused, haha, the memes, but then I'll be like, what? It don't make no
Michael
sense.
Michael Burnham has a kid. I forgot. Let's see who else. Archer doesn't have a kid. So there's like a few now that don't have kids.
Who?
Janeway and Archer.
Michael Burnham has a kid?
Oh shit. Maybe not. I didn't say anything. No,
Oh
no,
no.
no. Michael Burnham does
What?
not have a kid. The
Okay.
child, the child.
Okay. Okay.
Counselor
Okay.
Troy.
Okay.
Distract.
Okay.
There's no kid. Oh
I
shit.
it better be Book. Is it Book? The father?
I'm not saying anything.
It better fucking
There's
be
no
Book.
kid. I made a mistake. There's no
This better not
child.
be some bullshit where it turns out it was what's his face from season 102.
Who?
Tyler.
Oh. My
No,
mom is
so
the only
it's
person on
not
the
him.
planet. My mom is the only person on the planet that would like that ending. She loves Shazad Latif. She still to this day asks about Shazad Latif.
I got no
Is he
beef
coming
with
back to Star?
I got no beef with Shazad Latif, truly. Like, you know what I mean?
That
But
rhymes. He's a rapper too.
is
So
he?
yeah, I feel like he's
What?
done rap music. Yeah.
Okay, he's a rapper, or you feel like he's a rapper? There's a very
I
big
could have
difference.
sworn when I was obsessing, you know, like who the
Okay,
cast
that
was
you've
like
seen
back
it.
then. I looked him up and then I saw that.
So
Let me.
we have like a trend of English rappers being in Star Trek now.
Who was the other one?
Idris Elba.
Oh, Idris raps?
Yeah, he's a DJ and he raps.
No, I didn't know that.
He's a multi-talented artist.
Am I thinking of Clem Fandango? And I just like that's what I'm actually thinking. He's not a
Okay,
rapper.
all right.
He might not be a singer because I'm looking now and it doesn't say anything about him being a singer. That would be fun though.
You should ask
No,
your mother. She knows everything there is to know about Shazad Latif.
She doesn't know everything about him. He's not even her favorite Desi actor. Amitabh Bachchan. Do you know who that is?
Who?
Amitabh Bachchan.
No.
I'll send you a picture. You'll recognize him. He's like the Tom Cruise of of Bollywood. I
Oh
would
yes,
say.
yes, I know him.
Yeah. Wow, we went on a weird tangent here. But yeah, just ignore what I said about that.
I very much enjoyed the concept. Like the time travel concept that we were shown, and like the Gwyn phasing kind of like in and out of these various, I guess, timelines of parallel kind of like, yeah, I guess the parallel timelines of realities. I really like that. I really like that idea. And I really like that it wasn't like she completely disappears immediately, but it makes sense because we don't yet know, like, or it hasn't yet occurred, like the changes haven't yet completely occurred, because we don't really know like how her father's going to change, how it's going to affect him. Is he going to become the diviner or not? Everything is still in flux.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the chat. They're talking about Linus being the father of Michael's children.
That would be left field.
She doesn't have time to incubate the eggs. And it's cracking me up. Like that's their marital problems. Like you never you never sit on our baby's eggs.
I'm a captain. I don't have time. You said you wouldn't pull rank into this.
But yes, getting back to Prodigy, I do think I will go as far as to say that like maybe this season of Star Trek Prodigy does Temporal Shenanigans the best. Like in my favorite.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
It's tough coming in like almost 60 years into Star Trek and doing like time travel, because so many people have done it before and they've all done it in such like kind of different ways. Everyone makes up their kind of own rules. But like the episode
What was your favorite kind of time travel story in all of the Trek canon that you've seen so far?
My favorite time travel story that I've seen. I'm more kind of like a time loop or temporal anomaly type guy, so I really like the fucked up Picard on a shuttlecraft that says like the ship's gonna blow up kind of thing. You know what I mean?
You mean the episode where his hand gets older than his nails grow really fast, like that bubbly time bubble episode? Or are you talking about like
no, that's the one where the fruit bowl goes wrong, right?
You're talking about you're talking about the one where his duplicate who's like kind of passed out or whatever, right?
Yes.
Like that one.
And then the closer they get to like the thing,
the event, yeah. The
like
more
he
starts
he's like,
to
we have to evacuate the ship. I like that kind of
right.
stuff. I gotta say though, and I know people might hate me for this, I really like Time's Arrow.
Why? It's a good one. I think that's
I don't know, because I feel like people thought it was goofy for it. Like I think it wasn't, as appreciated. I don't know, maybe, but I really like Time's Arrow, and I like the, I like his what's his name? Oh my god, Moriarty. I like Moriarty. No, it's not Moriarty. It's God damn it. The guy with the white hair that they do in Lower Decks.
Oh, Samuel Clemens.
Yes.
You like Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. I love Mark Twain. But also in that episode, there's the whole thing about these other beings being on like a different kind of like plane of existence, but it's really cool.
It is really cool. I'm getting so excited about things I'm remembering. I think my favorite time travel thing is Star Trek 4. It's just done very simple. Yeah, it's a very simple
slingshot around the sun and boom.
But it's also like go back in time, try not to change anything, grab these whales, bring them back to the future. Everything's
I will say actually the Bell Riots is
that's a really good one actually.
Very, very good.
That's a really good
Space
one.
Nine time traveling thing. Oh, I'm so stupid. Okay, by far my favorite time related story is Jake and and Cisco being tethered in time together.
Oh, I have to take back Star Trek 4. You're right. That is really good.
Because
That's
it
like
makes me
such a good
cry
episode.
every time
It
I watch
does.
it.
The Visitor.
Oh my god,
The
no, yeah,
Visitor.
and
That's a really
that.
great.
That's an 11
And
out of 10, sir.
and that's another example of the whole you have to wait till a certain moment, the right moment. Like you have to kind of go through time to get to the point where you could kind of
Tell that story.
tell that story. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, audience? What's your favorite time travel story in all of the Star Trek that you've seen so far? Let us know. We're curious. Jill already hey Jill, nice to see you. Voyage Home, love it to pieces. And we got Joanne saying The Visitor. And it's true, Tony Todd is so damn good.
There's one that isn't so much time travel related, but it just involves, I guess, time dilation. And it's in Voyager. They talk to like a Romulan from like the Alpha Quadrant.
But then oh, that's also a timey-wimey. That's a good episode. Yeah.
They're like, oh, but we talked to him. He's already dead. It's like, oh no.
That's a really good episode. That's crazy. Like that you're doing time travel through communications, which is pretty cool. Like that's neat. Oh, good one, Toddy. Cause and effect.
Well, we do that all the time,
classic,
don't we?
great
Like
episodes.
when we call someone that's in a different time zone.
No, it's not.
Are we talking back into time?
Well,
are we talking into the future?
This is how you know I used to be a radio person. Well, speaking of time differences, Toddy, the host of Sci Fanatics is in Australia, so it's going to be 1 a.m. in the future. They're in the future. They're streaming from tomorrow.
They've seen things you haven't seen yet.
Right? They've seen a whole day's worth of stuff that I
you can't comprehend the day they'll have lived.
So at 11:30, you can see time travel in action
live.
That's
a good podcast name. Time Travel Live.
Let's see here. We have the those old scientists was a good one that Joel pointed out. I really like that one too. Let's see here. In my Inner Light isn't really time travel, but one of my favorites. There is a component of it that's it does kind of count in a weird way too, because Picard kind of goes into this like, alternate life. Like he has a whole life.
I've always considered that almost a holiday episode.
Yeah, I guess
that's an alien, like,
yeah, maybe it is like, but I get it. It's like going back in time to this civilization's like story, but without time traveling. So like I'll count it. I think that one counts. Jill says there are some wonderful time travel stories. City on the Edge of Forever, Ahuka, of course.
The classic.
Wow. For the Sci Fanatics, yes, if you go down my timeline, there's a link for it, but I'll also be retweeting it after this podcast, and I'll send it to our group exactly. And yes, Nick is super cool. I'm excited to meet Nick for the first time. So yeah, very cool. I caught up on a lot of their podcasts this week.
The animated series is yesteryear, I think.
Oh, cool. Joel posted the link, guys, in the audience. Yesteryear on the animated series. It's true. So, but I think if again, without giving away too much, I think it's obvious that this season is setting up a lot of temporal stuff, right? Like there's time travel involved at least. So I think I will just say that as a season, I don't think it's ever been done quite as well on a seasonal scale. Picard season 2, I think tried to do what Prodigy successfully does, if that makes sense. It makes sense. So yeah, like that's a spoiler I'll give. Toddy, we're coming up to the hour, so we got to wrap up so that I can be on time for all the other engagements that we're having today. Just as a reminder to the audience, Sci Fanatics at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Time, sorry. And then afterwards, we are doing our Deep Space Nine discussion. Today's episode is Passenger, and that's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys in the audience want to come and join us, that would be really awesome. So yeah, wrapping up this episode, just I thought it was a really good episode. I do think it's an episode that is meant to inform you about the temporal kind of mechanics and what's going on with the alternate timelines and all that stuff. So it's a very what is the word I'm looking for? Exposition kind of type of thing, but it does it in a way that doesn't feel like an exposition dump, which I really love. I thought it was very clever to show us like this Starfleet video that like the cadets would watch, Temporal Mechanics 101, that it's an actual like, like class, if you will, or whatever. I thought it was really great use, references to various time travel shenanigans and various other things. I didn't even go over the fact that I think that the Infinity looks a lot like the DeLorean from the back, and I think that's totally intentional. So there's a lot of cool things going on in this episode. So I'm going to give this episode another 10.
It's too much. It's too high. How dare you?
Go, your turn.
I guess the only complaint I would have about this episode, and it really is kind of a nitpick, and I guess it does come down to personal preference, is that I would have enjoyed seeing an option to either watch Temporal Mechanics 101 or read it. And I'm going to assume that behind the scenes, like there is the option, and he just chose like kind of like the video guide to it.
Right.
But I do understand also like the, I guess, kind of necessity or desire to do it that way, because it is the kids show, right?
Well, no, I disagree. I think we keep saying it's a kids show, but I think it's an all ages show. So you kind of have to keep it at a level for everyone, all ages and all levels of Trek audience. It's like meant to be an introduction. It's a very, I think the show, yes, the target audience is younger youth, but I would say that it's a show that is meant for also new audiences. It kind of does what the Trek on the Tube channel does for
canon,
yeah.
No, but I would have appreciated him like opening like a page of just like endless writing, and then maybe having like a dull moment where he's like, really, do I have to read all this? And it's like video, and oh, okay, and then the video plays, maybe. But that's just a minor nitpick, and maybe it's not important enough to like waste, quote unquote, some animation time, because animation is very expensive. So yeah,
I do feel like we got a little bit of that, but because like Dal does skip a chapter or something, or forget. I forget.
Oh yeah, he absolutely skips from like chapter like 1 to 5 or some shit.
I really appreciate Dal's. A lot. You brought up something that reminded me. I just want to interject and say that I really appreciate that they're showing different learning styles on the show as well. Like as we see these cadets, like Rock Talk is definitely the read it, like, and then watch the video and then read it again. Like Rock Talk.
Very Boimler.
Very Boimler-ish in some ways. Yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, I could say that. I could see that too. But Dal's more like of a visual action oriented learner, like learning on the kind of on the fly, if you will, like as needed. Like this adventure needs this knowledge, so I'm gonna like
I'm on a need to learn basis.
Need to learn basis, but they all kind of get to where they need to be, which is pretty cool,
No, other than that, I think it was a really nice episode. I really enjoyed like the temporal shenanigans, but I think it's a very characterful episode too. Like there's a lot of powerful character moments. Gwyn and her father, the friends going to get like Gwyn. I also think it's nice that like, so Jankum wasn't necessarily with the group throughout the episode, but he did his thing and he did it very well. I like that Murph is kind of off doing his own thing, speaking to like beings from other dimensions.
Right.
It's nice. And yeah,
and Majel, we can't forget Majel also helped.
No, absolutely, she was there to help. And then I also, you touched on it earlier, but the doctor has his like hollow emitter, basically his portable hollow emitter there, and he really does something. It's just like a portable time stabilizer thing that
A
he
phase
hooks up on.
discriminator.
Yeah, on Gwyn, and I like that. It's kind of like it's nice, and I hope we do explore a little more of like the Zero and the Doctor relationship and that kind of stuff.
And I forgot to mention, there's a little hint of something there. Zero got pretty
and
delighted.
Zero is crushing a little bit on the Vulcan. Fair enough, you know what I mean.
She's cute. I think she's cute. I think
yeah, but I think they could work. You know what I mean? Like she's a Vulcan, she can handle it. You know what I mean? She's just gonna put that red visor on. You know what I mean? And that's it. Boom, good to go. Give me some of that cloud.
Oh my.
Wow. No, but it's cute. I like it. These, because intertwined with all of this, at the end of the day, these are like kids or young adults, you know, of varying ages because of varying species, but
right.
They're coming of age stories. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's nice. It's good.
7. I love it. 7. That's a pretty good solid rating. Another solid episode. 7 out of 10.
Yes.
All right. Well, Toddy, this was so much fun. Next week, are we back at our regular time? Fridays at 5?
I would think so.
All right. Very good.
You know, unless there's like a wormhole or something.
So, audience, we're back next week, and it's The Observer Effect, I think is the name of the episode, if I'm not mistaken. Right? The Observer Effect?
So I was going through this article of like the most powerful Star Trek characters, and they have the Traveler.
They do have the Traveler in that article, so
and of course Wesley looking at the Traveler. So I guess Wesley counts as a Traveler here. There's the Borg Queen, but the Borg Queen ain't got nothing to do with this. There's Vija, but Vija, no. Just Charlie Evans, which I
Charlie X.
Got from no. The Caretaker, but I don't think the Caretaker would be like involved in such things. Even like maybe the Caretaker cares so much about Chakotay that like the Caretaker's back. Like, oh my god, my Chakotay. The Prophets seems like an option. Gary Mitchell was a dreadful person. So was Trelane.
Well, you're
Kevin Uxbridge. Do you remember that guy?
Of course, he and his wife Rashawn were living on that planet.
Yeah,
you know, where we have no laws to fit your crime.
And then Q.
It's true. Jill in the audience is requesting the article, Toddy. So if you could send it to either myself or to her, or post it in the chat, that would be awesome. All right, folks. So we'll see you next week on Friday at 5 p.m. for our usual discussion and our next episode. Don't forget, at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time today, I will be on the Sci Fanatics podcast with Nick, Dave, and Ellie, who's been in the audience. So gracious. Thank you, Ellie, if you're still watching. And so don't forget to watch that. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern time today, we will be talking about Passenger, the Deep Space Nine episode. So lots of stuff. This is like the old days. Remember when I used to be like stream after stream after stream?
God damn, he just jumped right back into it, didn't he?
Back into it. It's true. So let's all get our morning cup of coffee or whatever we need, and we'll see you very soon. Live long and prosper, everyone. Thank you.